Rise and grind every day, all day, guys. Got Daymond John's book. Just finished reading it. Got a lot of interesting people he talks about in interviews about. He talks about their challenges and how they became successful. One of my favorite quotes in the beginning of the book talks about his mom, but she used to tell him, the very first one, you can't read it, says, "The time will pass by anyways. Might as well use it productively." So I completely agree with that 100%. It doesn't matter what you do with your time because it's your time. But if you want to do something, you want to accomplish something, the time will pass by. So you might as well do something to get to that next step, to your next goal. And I love that. The next chapter that I really enjoyed reading was about Kyle. Kyle Maynard, and he basically says there's no excuses and be determined. That's his motto of life. And he's a man who was born with no legs and no arms. So imagine that, guys. He did anything he wanted to do because he was determined. He didn't know excuses. He lives an ordinary life. He drives a car. He goes to the airport. He lives in a regular house. The only difference is that he explains to people that he doesn't want them to worry so much what happens to them in life, because life is going to happen to you. It happens to everyone, whether you get a flat tire or something major, whether it's health or finances problems, but it's going to happen. Life's going to happen. And what I took that from perspective is what I usually do. What I usually think of in life is my 80-20 rule. So 20% of what happens to you is because of life. It just happens. It happens to everyone. And 80% of it is because either you put yourself in that situation, or you could do what you can do about what happened to you in life, that you can determine your status after that problem or that result. It's your life. You determine what you do with it. But it got me inspired, and it got me thinking, if a man who was born with no legs and no arms can do so many successful things, so much with his life, imagine what anyone else can do if they're just determined and no excuses. But there's a lot more entrepreneurs he talks about, and just other people who weren't even business people, but out of their ordinary lives, that they felt the need to come up with a new result for their life. And the Rise and Grind, it's not a bad book.